What's up guys, Nick No-K here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're talking about one of my often most liked things on Instagram, which is bike photos. That's right guys, today we are talking about how to take better bike photos. Yes, just the bike standing there on its own. It's actually something that I like to do quite often, and it always does really well on Instagram. People love looking at photos of bikes. Today we are talking about how to do bike photos just outside in natural light. I think it's something that's really good for all of us to improve on during this quarantine time. You can go right outside your house and do it. The ones that I shot today were just right outside in my apartment complex parking lot because currently I'm not gonna go anywhere else to do them. So I encourage you guys to watch this video and then go try some for yourself. So first things first guys, you gotta be able to get your bike to stand up. I have been using this, it's basically just like, you know, an L bracket that you'd get from like the hardware store. This just happens to be perfect height for my bottom bracket. I just put this right up into my crank and bottom bracket, and then it just stands the bike up. If the bike is on a little bit of a hill, you might have to put like a little rock or a lens cap or something under the wheel so that the bike can't roll. But otherwise, this does pretty well. If you do this where I do, under the bottom bracket, then you obviously are gonna have to like Photoshop this out. I'll show you guys how easy that is later on. But if you can hide it and maybe zip tie it to the wheel and hide it behind there, then go for it. Once you've stood up the bike, make sure those pedals are level. When they're like this or like this, it really doesn't look that good. So try to make sure the pedals and the cranks are level and the bars are mostly straight. That's one thing that can just totally make your bike photos look bad, is when when the cranks are up and down and the bars are turned, it can just ruin it. If you don't have that L bracket, you can use a rock, a stick, or find something, you know, that you can lean the bike up against. Sometimes you can actually just use like pressure. I've done so many different things, sticks on the spokes, small rocks just in the right place to where it balances perfect. But if you have something that can hold it in place for an extended period of time, that of course is gonna be the best. So let's get into the first and most important part, is probably the lighting. You really want the top of the frame to have highlights. Since we're gonna be shooting this all in natural light, the best and easiest thing to do is going to be to make sure the sun is behind and above the bike. It's the best and easiest way to make sure you get really nice highlights on the frame of the bike. Now, when we're talking about angles, really you want to get down low to, you know, frame level. Nothing is really going to be that interesting from your eye level unless you're shooting a top down on the frame. Now, while the centered composition is often what I choose, if you go 45 degrees towards the back or the front, that can look really cool too. I would say if you're gonna do either of those, the front is gonna give better results. Once you've done that center shot and you've got the entire bike in the photo nice and clean, you know, go up close, get a few detail shots of the handlebars or the stem or the pedals. Just, you know, whatever you're gonna shoot close up, make sure you're focused on what you're trying to show. If you're trying to show the pedals, make sure that is what is in focus. You know, if you're trying to show the stem, make sure that if you're showing the whole handlebar, we can tell that the stem is what we're focused on. To me, one of the most important things to make your bike photos pop is going to be having a shallow depth of field. When that background is nice and blurred out, it's really gonna draw attention to the bike. It's gonna make it pop as much as possible. A tighter focal length is going to make the bike stand out even more because it's gonna blur the background even more. Like for example, sometimes I'll use like a 35mm lens and sometimes more of a 135, and you can see the difference in having the background more in focus because you're on a wider focal length, and then when you step back and zoom in, that background really blurs out and it just brings a little bit more attention. Both can be a good look, but I definitely love that more zoomed in focal length. Now, if you're in an area where the background is going to make the photo better, like if you want to emphasize that, hey, this bike is in Utah, or look at the mountains behind this bike, you know, leave that in focus. If it's gonna help make the photo better, leave it in focus. But oftentimes, you know, there's just crap in the background, so just blur it out. It's gonna be better. Going back real quick to that photo with the mountains, the reason I did that is because I loved the color tones with the color tones of my bike. They were really complementary to each other. They were almost monotonous. So I was like, hey, this would be really cool. I just pulled over on the side of the road and took a few, and I really like them. For editing your photos, you can use any photo editor you want. I usually use Lightroom and Photoshop. For all the ones that I shot today, I actually just used Lightroom Mobile. I've been really loving the Lightroom Mobile interface. Lightroom Mobile is free. You guys can go download it, take photos with your iPhone, take them with a real camera, load them into the app, and get to editing. I actually have a preset system for Lightroom and Lightroom Mobile. Some of the photos that I shot today, I used those presets on to give me a starting point. Those presets are available on my website to purchase. You can download them straight to your phone, open up the 7 different presets in Lightroom Mobile. There's directions on how to do that. If you don't buy any presets, that's totally fine. You can use curves and the light panel and the color panel to get pretty much whatever you want. Lightroom Mobile is super powerful. So make sure you go ahead and give it a try. All right, guys, hopefully you like this quick video, and hopefully you are gonna be able to get out of your house a little bit and go shoot some bike photos. If you do, go ahead and post them on Instagram, tag me, I'll repost it on my story. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.